Hello and welcome to Overdrive. This is Rohit Paradkar and with me here is the updated 2022 Skoda Kodiaq. Now, as you're aware, the Kodiaq was launched in the global market around 5 years ago. It was present in the Indian market as well with the lovely 2-litre diesel engine. Then the Volkswagen Group decided to go no diesels, only petrols, and then the Kodiaq disappeared from the Indian market for a little while. But after that hiatus, it is now finally back in this updated avatar. This was launched in the global market in July 2021. But because of the COVID, it's taken a little while for this model to come to the Indian market, but now it's finally here. So let me quickly show you what is new with the 2022 Kodiaq. The biggest change, of course, is to the face of the car. As you can see, it's a much more upright looking, a much more imposing looking face now. And how they have managed to do that is basically with the grille, which is now more upright than before, and the bonnet, which is now slightly taller than before. As you are aware, all the cars that are based on the Volkswagen MQB platform appear smaller than you would like, and that's the reason why the previous design of the Kodiaq looked like a station wagon to some. So to get rid of that, they have essentially given this car a more upright face so that it gets a more SUV-like stance. The next change, of course, is the headlight. The previous headlight had a much smoother flow. This one has a slight bit of an angular kink in there. You can see that, and this section is now narrower on the lower light. And unlike the global model, this one doesn't get the matrix LED tech just yet. If we look lower down, even the bumper has been given a fair bit of a revision. The design is slightly different. You also get these air curtains on the sides. So despite the more upright stance, it's these small bits here and there that have ensured that the aerodynamic efficiency of the Kodiaq is actually better now with the 2022 update, despite the slightly more upright elements on the face. Moving to the side, the smart profile of the car is still just as it was earlier. Those sharp lines, they highlight the length of the car. It looks quite sharp. The chisel look is quite nice, and now you get a new design for these 18-inch alloy wheels. They look a bit more sophisticated now, and on some of the global models you get more design options, including one that has aero covers on it. The Indian model doesn't get it just yet. This right here is the LNK, which is the top of the line. The mid variant would be a sport line, and there's also going to be the style variant, which will be the base model. Moving towards the tail, you see the 4x4 and the Kodiaq badging with the spaced Skoda lettering. So no big changes there, but you can spot changes to the tail lights. Just the way we saw at the front, you also have an angular kink here. That signature C motif has now been replaced with this slightly more sophisticated, slightly more complex design. And if you see up top, you get this longer roof spoiler. So like I said, the aerodynamic efficiency of the updated Kodiaq is better than the outgoing car, and these little bits here and there help that cause. Lower down in the bumper, you get these 2-4 exhaust kind of elements, but the exhaust canister sits much lower and much deeper. Now before we step in, let me quickly show you the key fob. That's the Skoda key fob with a lot of chrome garnish on it, and it's a simple light key fob, not too heavy on the pocket. The car is, of course, but we'll come to that later. It has the proximity sensors, so you don't need to press any switches on the door handle or on the key fob. Just walk up to the car, pull the door handle, and you're good to go. But unlike some of the older Skodas, this will unlock all the doors. Remember the anti-theft feature on some of the older Skodas, where pressing the unlock on the key fob only unlocked the driver's side door. But this one will unlock everything, all the doors. So the global models get the ergo seats. Unfortunately, we do not get those. You get electronically adjustable driver seat, yes, but you do not get a massage function, which the global model gets, and I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity. If they would have done that, the Kodiaq would have been the most accessible car with front massage seats sitting below the GLC, and that would have been really nice, but unfortunately that has been given the miss. But let's get into the cabin, and the first thing that you will notice is the new 2-spoke steering wheel. It's not straight, sorry about that. Let me start the car. It's a 2-spoke steering wheel, something similar to what we've seen on the Kodiaq and on the Octavia. But if you get the Sport line trim, which is a mid-level trim, you get a 3-spoke steering wheel. On the LNK, you get a 2-spoke wheel. The Sport line gets a 3-spoke. I don't know what the style variant gets, that Skoda hasn't mentioned so far. But like the Octavia, you also get these roll and click switches on the steering. You have audio controls on this side, the voice assistant here, and here you basically cycle through different menus on the new digital screen. Now you also get a full screen map if you want. Now this is not Google Maps, unlike some of the higher end cars from the Volkswagen group which get the virtual cockpit. This is not Google Maps, but this is an inbuilt navigation. So even if you don't have cell phone network, the navigation should work fine for you. And this display can of course be changed. There are multiple styles to choose from, and that is done using the control on the steering wheel that I just showed you. I particularly like this screen. It looks quite sporty. You get that on the Sport line as well. So yeah, these are the various styles. Now if you were to long press this button, it will give you the different options for the layouts, and then you can just use the roll and click switches to choose whichever option you want. So I'm going to leave it at that. You get your temperature gauge here, you get all the trip info depending on the display style that you choose, and the fuel gauge here. So the fuel and the temperature gauge both are analog, everything else is digital, so you can change the layouts as and how you like it. Typical Skoda fashion, you get the wiper stalk on the right and the one to control your turn blinkers on the left. Now like I said, some of the global models, they come with better equipment. One of that is Matrix LED technology. Unfortunately, the Indian model, even on the LNK, doesn't get it. But what you do get is automatic headlights with all-weather capability. So you can choose what you want, or you can simply just leave it in auto. Down below, you get metal pedals and a nice footrest on the side. Now moving to the touchscreen infotainment system. Now this is a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system. It is a bit laggy for my liking, a little bit laggy, but not something that I would complain about too much. It's just a matter of getting used to. You can pair this up with your Android or Apple iPhone wirelessly for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You also have the Smart Link. Radio, self-explanatory, telephony, navigation, like I said, is inbuilt, and then you get different assistants. Now the only assistant system that you actually get on the India spec model is the attention assist. That's all that you get. On the global model, you do get adaptive cruise control. On the Indian model, you don't. Going back to the menu, media, again, it will essentially show you the list of all the devices that you've added. Smart Link, or this particular panel I just explained, if you hook up your iPhone here, you will see Apple CarPlay. If you hook up an Android phone, you will see the Android Auto symbol here. Going into vehicle, now this is in the off-road, this is on the off-road screen, so it will give you the angle of the wheel. There, I'm just changing the wheel there. You can see the dial giving you the angle of the wheel. Then you have you also have the compass, you also have the elevation, etc. So all of that is shown right here. Now if I were to hit selection, it will show me the driving data, the virtual cockpit. Again, I can make changes to the virtual cockpit's view from here if I don't want to use the controls on the steering. And this is the vehicle status. I can do that as well. So yeah, so a swipe swipe works here. It's a little laggy. You also get a TPMS, that's a tire pressure monitoring system. It's a highline system that you get on this car, and that's all that you'll get. So even if you click on car, it will essentially bring you back to the screen. Going into app, it will essentially let you choose the different phones that have already been paired here with this system. Navigation is navigation inbuilt. There's voice recognition as well. Let's cancel that. And then there is the phone. You can select to you can select a mobile phone if you've already paired it, or you can pair a new one. I'm not going to get into that right now. Going back to the menu, we go into sound. Now you see the Canton mode. So this is the Canton equalizer. You have something that is speech heavy, for rock, classic, classical, etc. So you have these different presets. Now this car, the LNK, comes with the Canton audio unit. It's a 12 speaker system, and it's still one of the best sounding systems in this particular category. So you have different options right here that you can control for the audio unit. Anyway, going back to the menu, we go to the next page. Here you can set the air conditioning if you like, the way you want, but there are proper physical switches for it as well, and that is something that I like. Now I have not tried this, but essentially you can upload, I think, different images, and then you can even set a wallpaper. That's what I think. I may be wrong, so don't take my word for it. I've not used this particular feature of this infotainment. You have all the manuals in here, and then you have the settings for various things like the display, the time and day, the language, etc., etc. So all of that is right here. You'll also see the Wi-Fi, and that is what is used for now it says use the infotainment system as a hotspot. Now that's not worked for me, but it uses the Wi-Fi module on this infotainment screen to wirelessly connect to the Apple CarPlay, and that has worked for me, but I have not been able to use the system as a hotspot, and I couldn't get anyone from Skoda to help me out just yet because we've just about got the car. Speaking of the switches, like I said, you have all the air conditioning switches here. You can turn off the start-stop system. You have the park assist here. You can also pull up the camera, and the L&K also comes with a 360-degree camera, so that's another good addition. This is the only variant that gets it. The hazard switch is right here, and you can lock and unlock the car from right here. And if you were to turn off the passenger airbag, this thing is going to light up. Down below you will see that you get 2 USB-C ports now, so keep the adapters handy if you're still running the older cables. You also get a 12-volt socket, and there is a wireless charging pad. Now with my iPhone Pro Max, with a slightly fatter cover that I have, it doesn't fit in here at all. You will need one of those slim covers if you want to put your bigger iPhones in here with a cover. But yeah, it's a key charger and it works quite well. Without the cover, it charges the phone quite quickly as well. Moving back, you will see the gear selector right here. Nice chunky gear selector as before. Says 4x4 as well. That's actually all-wheel drive, and DSG tells you that this engine is mated to a 7-speed transmission. The engine in question is a 2-liter TSI that puts out 190 PS of power. I'll come to the engine in a bit. You also get driving modes with this engine. Now the same engine does duty in the Octavia and also the Super, but you do not get driving modes in that. But here, hitting this selector will give you the driving modes as well. You have Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, Individual and Snow. I'm going to go into Individual and I'm going to hit Change to just show you what all changes happen when you change the driving modes. So the air conditioning can be set to an Eco mode where it will use the air conditioning a little more conservatively if you want to save fuel, or you can just leave it on normal. There is light assistance, again Sport or Normal. That will essentially tell you how the lights are behaving, but again no matrix lights on this. You get adaptive LEDs though. Here you can choose how you want the drive, that is the responses of the engine and the powertrain. How do you want them to? Do you want them to be normal? Do you want them to be sporty? Or do you want them to be dull for the Eco mode? So you can choose that here. Let's leave it at normal for now. Steering, again normal or sport. Normal will make it quite light. The sport just weighs it up quite nicely. It becomes a little progressive as well, so when you start pushing it around the bends, it starts becoming a little tighter. And then you have DCC, and that you can leave in sport, normal or comfort. Now what is DCC? That's dynamic chassis control, if I got that right. So that essentially is pointing towards the adaptive dampers. It's electronically controlled damping in the suspension, and basically putting it on sport will make it stiff so that you get a tighter body control around the bends. You can leave it in normal, where I think it works best for highway use, and comfort is where it will just make it a little squishy, make it more supple for poor road conditions. So you can do that. And there is of course that off-road mode as well, but if you were to click the mode, you don't get the off-road mode right here. You get the others. For off-road mode, you have to use this. Now off-road mode will also give you the hill descent control, and this is only available on the L and K variant. Below that is the switch to turn off traction control. Next to that is the parking brake. So you have all these switches right here. They fall easily at hand. All the controls fall easily at hand. Moving back, you have quite a few storage spaces here. So you have these dotted cup holders that gives you better traction for opening the bottle if required, etc. Not for smaller bottles of course, but for slightly bigger bottles. Now the regular 1 liter bottles don't fit in here. It usually works best for cups. Starbucks, McDonald's, all those cups are going to fit in quite well. You can leave your key fob in here if you like, and these are small crevices for maybe your toll card, your coins, etc. You also get some storage space at the back. Yes, I carry disposable spoons with me. COVID times aren't over, so I rather use my own cutlery. If you look at the door pad, you get the Canton speakers on top there. You can see 2 speakers there. You also get a big door pocket for your knickknacks, for your bottles, etc. You will see a 2-tone combination there, 2-tone combination everywhere. This panel is now done up in black. Earlier it was done up in beige to match this. Now you get a black panel here. You get perforated seats as well, and with the perforation you also get heating and cooling functions. Both. You have both. If I were to hit that switch right there, you can see on the screen I can either have it heat up the seat or cool the seat, and there are 3 levels of adjustment for it, and that's for both the front seats. The only thing missing is a massage function. In terms of inlays, you still get the glossy black inlays, fingerprint magnet, dust magnet, scratch magnet. Cars that are maybe a few thousand kilometers old already start looking very blemished on these panels. So that's something that they should have changed. On the global model, you get a carbon fiber finish, you get different material options. Unfortunately, they haven't done that here on the Indian model. But what you do get on the door pad is the pocket for the umbrella. The driver's side gets the umbrella, and you get an empty pocket on the passenger side. It's only on the front doors, but that's a nice little nifty feature to have. The boot is electronically controlled. I'm going to open that and show you the boot space as well before we get into the second row. So there you go, that's the boot space. Don't mind that little bag there, it's some knickknacks. So the third row is folded down right now, and even with the third row up, you get about 270 liters of boot space. But with the third and the second row down, you get over 2000 liters of boot space. So if you're going to IKEA for shopping some big stuff, you can use the car without any problems. What is missed is the switches here, which help you drop the second row seats. They are not there, so you'll have to go and pull those levers there to drop the second row seats. The third row is very easy to drop and pull back up. You essentially just pull this and the seat will come up. So it's that simple. Right now it's a little stuck there, but it's easy to do. You also get a cup holder on one side, you get a 12-volt socket on the other, and this little storage crevice right here. The seat belts are right on top and very neatly integrated. I quite like it. You also get these reading lamps on the top. Tailgate is electronically controlled, like I said, and underneath is where you get the space saver, spare wheel, and the toolkit. Speaking of the second row, the seat back is quite upright. You can't really change the angle, but you can change the reach for the seats. Now this is a 40-20-40 split. However, when you're adjusting reach, it's a 60 side and a 40 side that you can adjust, but when you're dropping the seats, it can be a 40-20-40 split. Let me just quickly show you that. There you go. I've just dropped the center one, or I can drop them together as well. Right, so what is this little thing hanging here? So this is essentially a blanket. So just in case you're road tripping and you would want to just drop off all the seats and use that like a bed, you can lay this down as a mattress or a blanket, and you can have a quick snooze, is what Skoda tells you. The second row also gets AC vents. It's a 3-zone climate control system, so you can change your temperature preference from here. You get 2 AC vents, you get a 12-volt socket down below. Now the global spec models will also give you a charging port there for your regular 2-pin charger for maybe your laptop or something like that. That would have been a good addition. The door pockets, just like the front, quite roomy. You can put your 1-liter bottles in there. You also get these window blinds, manual of course. Another nice little feature to have. As for your coat hooks, you get one here, there's one there in this handle, and as you can see, there's a huge panoramic sunroof. So the car never ever feels congested or claustrophobic. It's nice and airy feeling, especially with the light upholstery. So no matter where you're seated, it usually feels nice and airy, unless you're of course an adult, and then you can't get into the third row. That space is only good enough for kids or short teenagers. So that's that. The car's running and there's hardly any sound coming from it. So this is the petrol. Like I said, it's the 2-liter TSI. There's no diesel option anymore. This is the only engine that you get. What are the fuel economy figures like? What are the performance figures like? Everything I'm going to tell you in the road test. So definitely do stay tuned to the OVERDRIVE YouTube channel. That is where we will be publishing the road test very soon. As of now, this is just a quick walk around video for you guys to see what to expect from the 2022 Skoda Kodiaq. If you have any questions about the car, if you have any feedback, just let us know in the comments below, and we'll love to answer all those questions as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching.